Special thanks to Tristan Garrett for providing us with today's MSM Draw. Submit a drawing prompt with the hashtag MSMDraw in this video for a chance for it to be drawn in the next one. Alright class, settle down. Let's begin today's lesson of what's in a name. We've got two monsters today that have very interesting inspirations. Let's start first with the Yuggler. The Yuggler is the double of fire and psychic. Its names reflect terms from meditative practices from the East. For example, its species name Yuggler is a combination of the term juggler, because it throws its orbs in the air, and yogi, which is an individual who practices meditative yoga. To represent this, the Yuggler has its limbs crossed in the lotus yoga position and hovers to reference transcendence. Its first name, Asanana, pulls from the word asana, which means a yoga pose, and also from an onomatopoeia from the Marathi language. This Indo-Aryan word, sanana, means the sound that metal balls make when they hit each other. Rather specific, but perfect for this name. Baothing is a nod to baothing balls, which are metal spheres that you rotate in your palm like the Yuggler does. The word could also incorporate the Chinese word bao, which means treasure, referencing the golden spheres that each Yuggler possesses, and also the word ding, which is the sound that the monster makes. Chime is simply the corruption of the word chime, which is a metal ringing sound. Jnana is a type of yoga. Jnana yoga is the focus of self, and its meditative practices include asking existential questions to understand the nature of your own consciousness. Jumbler is a four-part pun of tumbler, the act of tumbling, jumble, a pile of items, juggler, and blur, because the balls move quickly through the air. Namaste is a corruption of the word namaste, which is what you say in greeting as you take a bow. It is associated with Hinduism and yoga. Moksha is another corruption on the word moksha. It has many meanings between different regions of the East, but is most commonly associated with the cessation of the reincarnation cycle. Svara is pulled directly from a Sanskrit language, and it means a musical note. How fitting. Yogi just means yogi, and as we've learned from before, it means someone who does yoga. Yuggula pulls from Yuggler and also jugular, which means related to the neck or throat. The Yuggler appears to be nothing but neck, so the name is appropriate. The Shugabush has some awesome name references because it has some of the closest ties to the human world. To start us off, let's remember that the Shugabush was created when My Singing Monsters collaborated with the real-world musician Christian Bush. The species name Shugabush pulls from Christian Bush's last name, and also the name of his country music band Sugarland. Bloom is the name of an album that Bush produced early in his music career. It matches the plant-like theming of the Sugar Fam. Decatur is the name of a city in Georgia where Bush often performs. Dwarfbat was tricky, but I eventually hypothesized that it is a scrambling of the word troubadour, which is not only an album and song name of Bush, but also is a concert venue in California that they most recently played at in November 2019. Eddie pulls from a particular music club in Decatur called Eddie's Attic. Bush played there at the start of his career and continues to perform there multiple times a year. In fact, he just performed there on November 27th, last Monday. Emory references Emory University, a school in Atlanta, where Bush attended college and received a degree in creative writing. Glibson is a mix of two words. Gibson, which is the brand of instruments that Bush plays on, and glib, meaning smooth talking. Knox references the fact that Christian Bush was born in Knoxville, Tennessee. And Merrill is actually Christian Bush's middle name. Nosnorb is Bronson spelled backwards. There aren't many important Bronsons in Bush's life, but there does appear to be a Bronson Smith that funds some of Bush's projects, like the musical play Troubadour. Pilgrim is a callback to the band Bush was in before he was in Sugarland. It was called Billy Pilgrim, and it was more folk rock than country music. Wretch refers to the Resch Center in Wisconsin. Bush played there a couple of times, the most recent being August 2018. Setlin refers to the second #1 single produced by Sugarland. It was, if you couldn't guess, called Setlin. And finally, Sevier refers to Christian Bush's childhood town, Sevierville. I personally learned a lot from this episode, which is why I love researching for what's in a name. That appears to be the bell, so I will see you all later. Thank you for coming to class.